Hi there, good noon and welcome to BYJU'S exam prep channel that helps you to prepare in such a fabulous manner that you are very easily able to go beyond the boundaries. It becomes even easier for us when you start preparing early. So it is still 2023 September and you are targeting the CAT exam of the next year. So when you give us 15 months, I am sure we can definitely create magic together. So if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe to it and do press the bell icon so that you do not miss out on any session that we bring for you. My name is Vikrant. I am your personal coach for all things related to English and communication skills. Additionally, when you prepare for a long term, you also need to get those mental aspects sorted, and those are again things, the psychological aspects of preparation that I pitch in with. So if you happen to have any question during the course of this session, feel more than free to hit me up using the chat down below. I will keep an eye out on the chat. So see, right now I am looking at you, but when I do this, I am actually reading the chat that you've sent to me. Okay, so it's not that I'm not with you then, it is just that I am focusing on the chat that you've sent. So make sure that you do drop in the messages down below and I'd love to help you get that additional clarity. Okay, Manisha says, I want to give the CAT exam which is going to be held on November 23 at Tripura University. There is only one CAT. Okay, when we talk about CAT, we are talking about the common admission test conducted by the IIMs, and yes, that is going to take place on in November this year, but Tripura University could be a center. And if you're preparing for CAT 23, I think the timeline that I talk about, that timeline may not work for you, but the rest of it is something that you definitely find helpful. Hetansh, can I start studying now for CAT 23? Yes, you can. Can I get a good percentile? Yes, you can. See, at the end of the day, it is an aptitude test. Aptitude is a natural ability to do something. So if that, but that natural ability may not always be necessarily well developed. It's like, diamonds are made by nature. Human beings can only polish it, right? So if you have that natural ability which is already somewhat polished, you can definitely go ahead and polish it even more in the next 3 months and get a 99 percentile plus. On the other hand, if that natural ability is not yet polished, start polishing it. It will take whatever time it takes, but when that happens, you will have that diamond in your hand. Okay, so it's not that you cannot start right now, you absolutely can. The question that you need to ask yourself is, are you serious? So just a quick reminder, we have our All India Open Mock taking place on 8th, or we start from 8th of September. So make sure that you do write this. And so the question that you need to ask is, are you serious about your CAT preparation? If yes, then today is the best day for you to start, irrespective of where you are. Where you start from does not matter. The only thing that matters is where you are headed and the kind of effort that you are putting in. And this session will help you create a personalized plan for you. If you are short on time, you would perhaps not be able to finish everything. But if you're preparing for CAT 24, I have no hesitation in saying that you will be able to develop everything to the requisite degree for sure. Okay, so any other question, issue, concern, drop it down below. So let us start a journey of preparing a personalized plan for the CAT. So step 1, what would that be? So whenever we start a journey, I think the first step is to be clear about the destination, or in this particular case, can I say that you need to be clear about the goal that you have. So that has to be the first thing. Set your goal. What is it that you want to achieve? What is that end point in your mind at this moment? Okay, Manisha, we definitely talk about it. Why not? So make sure that whenever I ask a question, you respond, and then I can either tell you the right answer straight away, or I can tell you which people to follow to get that answer for yourself. Okay, so the first step is set your goal. So in this particular case, our goal essentially is to get into a B school. No, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right because we have more than 3,500 B schools. In fact, why more than 5,000 B schools? I think the last time around I calculated, we had approximately 3.5 lakh seats in MBA colleges and around 2.5–3 lakh aspirants. So if it is about getting into a B school, I am sure you can get into a B school, but then you are not somebody who would be happy with getting into any random B school, right? So which college do you want to get into? What's your goal? Which college? Come on, type it in. Type it in. Praveen, I will not be able to address this in this particular session, but I took a session on reading speed around 4 weeks ago. So if you go through our playlist, you'll find it. Or if somebody from the team is listening, yeah, can you look at my sessions where I talk about RC skills, and then there was another session where I specifically talked about reading speed. If you could please float the links in case you are there. So I think most of the people who work with me, they would typically think of getting into a college like, say, I am Ahmedabad, I am Bangalore, I am Calcutta, I am Lucknow, Indore, Shillong, FMS, XLRI. Maybe some of you have work experience and you are thinking of this one-year program offered by ISB, and then there are many more. So at the end of the day, your goal is to have a great career. A great career is made up of 3 things. It gives you the amount of money that you need. It gives you the amount of status that you desire, and it gives you the amount of satisfaction that you seek from your professional life. So whichever college satisfies these things for you in your chosen professional domain is a college which is great for you. Although this is new, Manisha, when I say Tripura University, I mean, not many people come to me with this goal. And if you are preparing, I'm sure Tripura University is good, but I believe that we can definitely also, along with that, target some colleges which are higher ranked. Okay, right? So you need to have that clarity. And Gautam, Saket, Harshad, when you write the names of these colleges, I know how much effort it takes. You know, forget writing it in a public forum. If you stand in front of a mirror, look into your own eyes and tell it to yourself that I want to get into, I plan to get into IIM Ahmedabad. Chances are that you would perhaps hesitate telling it to even yourself. And to say it publicly requires guts, requires courage, but that has to be the starting point. So the first thing that you need to decide on is the goal, which in this case is the college that you want to get into, because unless you know the goal, the next step cannot really be taken care of. Manisha, I have written some of these colleges here. Go to BYJU'S Exam Prep website, just look for India's top B schools, BYJU'S Exam Prep in your Google search bar, and you'd find quite a few great colleges. And if you still want further help, if you still want to reach out to us in person and talk, join a Telegram group. Again, if somebody from the team is here, could you float the link of our Telegram group, please? Join that. I'll also share the name at the end, and you can actually tag me there. My name is Vikrant. I am there. You can ask me questions even there later. Okay. So once you know the colleges, it is only then that you can get ahead with or get on to step 2, and that is your preparation in a way. But when you start your preparation, what is the first thing that you do? So when you start your preparation, the first thing that you do is you look at the syllabus. So step 2 is now figure out the syllabus. So dude, you want to get into a college, let us say IIM Ahmedabad. Okay, so if you want to get into IIM Ahmedabad, what all do you need to do? What is the syllabus? So that is very intimately, very closely linked with admission criteria, right? So what does it take to get into IIM Ahmedabad? What does it take? Tell me. So there is a selection process. it has different elements. Every element gets certain weightage, right? So those different elements are, number one, you need to write a written exam and get the requisite percentile, get a great rank. So if you want to get into, say, a college like IIM Ahmedabad or Bangalore or FMS, you of course need to write the CAT. If there is some other college that you want to get into, say XLRI, then you need to write the ZAT. You want to get into ISB, you need to write the GMAT. So we have these three major exams, right? CAT, ZAT, GMAT, and then there are a lot of other exams that are conducted in our country. So you have exams like NMAT for those who want to target Narsi Monji, SNAP for Symbiosis, TISNET for Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. Then you have Maharashtra CET for colleges in Maharashtra. You have CMAT, a lot of exams. So you need to write a written exam and get a score of 99 percentile plus. So you need to ensure that you are in the top 1%. In fact, if you are targeting IIM Ahmedabad, I'd say that you're targeting 99.3 percentile and above. So excellent performance in the written exam is one part. Then once you qualify the written exam, there are more things ahead. What are those more things? A lot of these colleges will put you through a writing ability test, which is a fancy name for essay writing. So you need to be good at essay writing. Almost all the colleges will conduct a personal interview. Some colleges may also conduct a group interview. Additionally, depending upon the college, right, you may have some more exams, like for example, if you want to get into MICA, you need to write MICAT. You want to get into FMS, you also need to prepare for an extempore. So there can be more elements involved, and then some weightage is also given to your profile. So if you want to increase your chances of success, you need to live a life and you need to prepare in such a way that you are able to maximize your marks in each one of these 4 domains, and maybe even the other domains that are specific to the college that you are targeting. So let's start with written exam. So what all do we need to prepare for when it comes to the written exam? Well, one of the things that you need to prepare for is quantitative aptitude, which is essentially mathematics, although there are certain key differences that we do keep on talking about in our sessions here. So quantitative aptitude is one area. Then you have data interpretation, which is another area. Then you have logical ability, which is your third area. And of course you have verbal ability and reading comprehension, which can also be termed as English. So if I look at them superficially, I'd say when it comes to quantitative aptitude, you need to be absolutely conceptually clear with maths up to the 10th standard. And plus there are some areas that do take you towards 11th and 12th standard. So everything that was taught to you up to 10th standard plus some areas that are taught in 11th and 12th standard. Then when it comes to data interpretation, you need to be good at arithmetic. You need to be good at calculations, and you need to be familiar with, so familiarity with visual representation of data. So when I talk about line graphs, bar graphs, pie charts, all of those things, you need to go ahead and become comfortable with those. Then logical ability is mostly about training your mind to think in a structured, step-by-step manner. So dealing with things like puzzles, okay, arrangements, those kind of things. But it is mostly fundamentally about thinking in a very structured, logical manner. And then of course verbal ability and reading comprehension, which is English. So you need to go ahead and be good at reading comprehension, be good at grammar and vocabulary and the likes. I will talk about this in greater detail later. So no matter which entrance exam you write, these 4 areas are going to be common. for every exam, right? CAT, ZAT, NMAT, Maharashtra, CET, whatever. You need to be good at. In fact, let me not use the word good. You need to be great at these 4 areas, right? Additionally, depending upon your goal, you may also need to sharpen your decision making skills. Why? Remember this exam that we talked about, ZAT? You need it for that. And then some of these exams, once again, I'm actually primarily talking about ZAT, you need general knowledge. Additionally, if you are targeting colleges like TISS, if you're targeting colleges like IRMA, you anyway need to be really good at these areas, because these colleges value it a little more. So TISS and IRMA particularly focus on your what would I say, your awareness about social issues. So government schemes and all those popular development schemes, important world bodies, elections, etc. And even in MICA, they test your creativity a lot. So people who are well read, people who know more of the world, generally tend to do better at those things as well. So these two are exam specific. They are not needed for every written exam, but GK in particular can come in very handy later. So that's about the written exam. Then the next round is VAT and interview. So what do you think? What is needed to perform really well in interviews and essays? What is the first thing that comes to your mind? Drop it in the chat below fast. What's the first thing that you need? क्या चाहिए भाई वैट और इंटरव्यू में अच्छा करने के लिए? Then ओए यार टीम वालों हो तो यार वो डाल दो प्लीज, रीडिंग स्किल्स वाले सेशन का लिंक और टेलीग्राम वाले ग्रुप का लिंक प्लीज. Oh, so Manisha, you think good grammar? Yes, that helps, but that's not the core. I think the very first thing and the thing that we often ignore is knowledge. Dude, no matter what, you're given a topic, you're asked a question, you need to have the relevant knowledge to answer it. If you don't have that knowledge, nothing else will matter. So make sure that you work on acquiring that knowledge. Additionally, you need communication skills. So for that, what you require is writing skills. And for interviews, what you require is speaking skills. Speaking and for that matter, even listening skills. Right? And in some cases, you may also need public speaking skills. There are some colleges that put you through a group discussion or a group exercise. There are a couple of colleges here and there which may ask you to make a micro presentation, right? So those things basically. So you need to go ahead and polish your communication skills. Then you need to have what I typically call good judgment. But let me define it. So what is it that I mean by good judgment? Good judgment is the ability to combine the relevant knowledge with your experience, with your intellect to form opinions. So in a lot of those essays, in a lot of those questions, you are asked to take a stance. You're asked to form an opinion on a topic. So that ability to form opinion is what I'm using the word good judgment as here. So the ability to combine your knowledge, your personality, your intellect to take a stand, to form opinions. So that is something that is again needed. Then specifically for the purpose of interview, I would like to say that we need to have better self-awareness. So self-awareness in the sense that you have that career clarity, you know what it is that you want to do professionally, you know why you want to get towards that direction and what makes that career path a good fit for you. Then self-awareness in terms of your personality, right? You know your likes and dislikes, you know your strengths and weaknesses, you know your values, So those kind of things. And then of course Abhi says confidence. So how do we define confidence? What is confidence? How do you guys define it? Seriously, tell me, what's confidence? That's an interesting label. Is it needed? I would say yes. I'm likely to agree with that. But then how do you really define it? Abhi, no answers? I thought that this is going to be easy. So confidence is this certainty, this awareness that you have the required knowledge or the required skills. So that certainty, that sure-footedness. So now tell me, confidence is a cause or an effect? Manisha, if you are eligible to write the exam, and you know the eligibility, you need to be in the final year of graduation, you need to have more than 50% marks in graduation. So if you're eligible, you are going to fill the exam this year. There are no two ways, there's no doubt in my mind in this regard. Okay. So confidence is not a cause, confidence is an effect. When you prepare, when you practice, it is that preparation and practice that leads to this gradual increase in confidence where you're like, oh, I have performed in the past. That tells me that I have these abilities, and then you are able to go. Okay, so confidence is going to come when you polish these things. So that's about VAT and interview. And finally, there is some amount of weightage given to your profile. So when we say profile, what do we mean by it? Your profile is your academic background. So the kind of marks that you have had in 10th, 12th and graduation. Not every college is going to look at all the three. For that matter, not every college is going to look at your academic excellence at all. So there are most of these colleges will look at 10th and 12th. Some of these colleges may also look at graduation. Some of these colleges may not look at any of these three, and even there, when they look at it, the weightage assigned to it may not be very high. So if you are still a student, please make sure that you start taking care of your performance in the exams. Then the other area is work experience. So in some colleges and in some courses, work experience is mandatory. At most of the places it is not mandatory, and if you do not have a work experience, it is not going to be a disadvantage. So as a fresher, you will be compared to other freshers. You are not going to be compared to other people who have work experience. So every year, somewhere around, and I'm being a little conservative, at least 30% freshers make it to the premier colleges every year, at least. And as you go down the rankings of B schools, that number generally increases. So work experience. Then the third thing would be your leadership potential that you can show with the help of your co-curricular and extracurricular activities. So these are things that happen inside the college. Co-curricular are related with your curriculum. Extracurricular are, these are activities that happen in the college but are not related to your curriculum. Right? So for example, you participate in a debating society or dramatic society, or you're part of the organization committee, etc., etc. and all. Then you have extramural activities. So extramural activities are those things that you do outside the college. So maybe you are part of a non-profit. Maybe you volunteer someplace. Maybe you are part of some club or committee outside your college. Maybe you engage in part-time work. And then of course your participation in sports, your participation in hobbies. Sports is generally going to be a part of extracurricular activities anyway, but it's an important area that can help you show a lot of leadership potential, and therefore I'm emphasizing it separately. And then of course hobbies. So that's the sum total of your profile. Now, in case you've already graduated and you are somebody who thinks that you have a weak profile, see, worry not. At least, I'm saying at least 60% of the weightage is given to your written exam plus your VAT and interview, at least. Okay. So 60% of it is still in your hands. It's only the other 40% that you believe is not great. And even there, when you say not great, I mean, it's not that you're going to be outright bad, right? You are definitely going to get some marks. So you just need to ensure that you work so hard that you leave everyone behind when it comes to the written exam, the interviews, the VAT, and you have time. Leave them in a cloud of dust. Go so fast. Move so ahead that they cannot even touch you with an electricity pole. You can do it. You know it, right? So that's the syllabus. These are the kind of things that you need to go ahead and take care of. So once you know the syllabus, once you know all the things that you're supposed to do, it's step 3. It is here that we go ahead and start talking about personalizing the preparation. How to ensure that the preparation is tailor-made. So here is the lowdown on personalizing the plan. So first up, assess your strengths and weaknesses. See, we are not alike. Some of us are good at quant, some of us are bad. Some of us are good at English, some of us are bad. Some of us are comfortable with communication skills, some of us are not. So all of us have had a different journey in our lives, and that journey has given us some unique strengths and weaknesses, right? So assess your strengths and weaknesses and then prepare accordingly. Now, the question in your mind could be, how? How can I assess my strength and weakness? So I think one thing is to look back at your past, retrospect. See, traditionally over the last few years, which are the areas that you've been more comfortable with, which are the areas that give you jitters, which are those areas where your preparation is not great, and focus on those areas. I'm sorry, there appears to be an electricity cut at my place, so I am vanishing for a brief while, but I'm going to be with you, okay? My sound will be there, my video will come to you in a while. So assess your strength and weakness with the help of retrospection. Look back at your life and then decide which aspects, which areas you're good at and which you're weak at. That's one way out. Another very important, very useful thing that you can do is that you can write a diagnostic test. Write a mock CAT, no? Look at that mock CAT. Writing of that mock CAT will tell you the things that you're good at and the things that you are bad at. And how can you write that mock CAT? Let me make it easy for you. Here is an all India mock CAT that we are organizing from 8th of September to 17th of September. All that you need to do is register for it and then appear for it. So this test will have all these questions that are based on quant, DI, logic, English, everything. So sit and write it. Now, merely because you've written a mock test will not guarantee that you are able to perform well. That's not the only thing that counts. You also need to thereafter analyze your performance in the test, and we'll also help you with the analysis. There'll be a detailed analysis of that test available, so you can go through it. So when you analyze your performance, you'd be able to see where you stand vis-a-vis the others who are preparing for the CAT in each one of those 3 sections. And that insight can help you figure out the areas that you may need to go ahead and work more on, right? Additionally, if you are still not very sure, you can always go ahead and talk to your teachers and your mentors. And if you don't have mentors, then we here at BYJU'S Exam Prep are there for you. You can always reach out to us and we'll help you. Okay, so figure out what you are good at, figure out what you're not that good at yet, and then create a plan that takes care of your shortcomings. A plan that builds on your strengths and a plan that builds upon your weaknesses as well and turns that into your strength. And once you have that personalized plan, step 4 is very simple. Get going. Just start. Execute that plan. Thereafter, please do not delay. Then just go ahead and prepare. Okay, and to make it easier, let me give you a detailed VARC plan, a detailed plan for English. So remember, I'm your personal coach for English, for communication skills. So let me give you a detailed VARC plan, and whatever I share with you here, you can go ahead and use that as a template for the other areas as well, right? So first up, the paper pattern with respect to English. So if I talk about CAT 21, we had 66 questions in all, and out of those 66 questions, 24 belonged to English. We were assigned 40 minutes for it. And here is the breakup of these 24 questions. 16 of them were from reading comprehension, and the remaining 8 came from these 3 paragraph based questions. Now in CAT 22, you still had the same total number of questions, 24, same RC, same parajumble, same para summary, but the change was that instead of odd one out, you had 2 para completion questions. So that automatically tells you what you need to prepare for, right? RC and paragraph based questions. So let's dive. So when I look at the syllabus of English, we essentially divide it into 5 modules. So you have verbal ability, you have reading comprehension, grammar, vocabulary, and verbal reasoning, where verbal reasoning is the foundation. Then when I talk about vocab and grammar, they are essentially knowledge based areas. RC is fundamentally a skill, and verbal ability is essentially a technique based area. So you need to take care of these 5 blocks in order to do really well in English, starting with verbal reasoning. So in verbal reasoning, here are the 4 things that I want you to excel at. So first is a very tiny bit of theory, but thereafter you have syllogisms. So my recommendation, start with verbal reasoning, start with syllogisms. Give yourself 7 days for syllogisms. So in these 7 days, you should be very comfortable with syllogisms. After that, move over to logical consistency and give yourself 3 days for it, and then switch over to critical reasoning and give yourself 3 weeks for it, maybe even 4. So the next 21 to 30 days after syllogism and logical connectives can be spent on critical reasoning. And in order to, it's a very important area for us, please do not ignore it. If you're preparing with us here at BYJU'S Exam Prep, we'll of course take care of the theory as well as your practice. In case you are still thinking of preparing on your own, then there are these 2 international exams. One is GMAT, other one is LSAT. These exams also test you on critical reasoning very extensively, so you can tap into the material of GMAT and LSAT for your critical reasoning preparation. Okay. Deepshika has asked a question, how much minimum time? Okay, here it is. The minimum time that I want you to give to your preparation is 600 hours. This is the minimum. It may go up depending upon how comfortable or uncomfortable you are with different things. But you definitely need to put in 600 hours using the right approach. So verbal reasoning, so if you combine it, we are talking about approximately 30 to 37 days for it, which means that right now here we are 4th of September. So by around 4th of October, 4th to 10th of October, 11th of October, so let's say latest 11th of October, by then you should be comfortable with this, right? So that's your plan until 11th of October for English. Then let's dive into RC. So when it comes to reading comprehension, here are the first 3 things that you need to take care of. Now all the three, what is special about it? These are skills, which means that you need to practice every day to become better at each one of these three things. So pay special attention to these three things. Okay. Then the next four things: understanding different question types, eliminating closed choices, approaches. These are all knowledge based areas. You need to work with a faculty member, or you need to acquire a theory from some YouTube video, some book or the other somewhere. The best thing to do would be to work with me, where I can take care of all of these things. And the eighth and the last thing is, once again, critical reasoning. Remember last slide where we are devoting 3 to 4 weeks to it. So why is critical reasoning a part of RC? If you look at the different question types that get asked in RC, you would realize that almost 35% of those questions are actually critical reasoning questions. It is just that they are asked after RCs. In fact, last year the examiner went ballistic about CR, and last year around 66% of the RC questions were actually critical reasoning questions. So if you haven't mastered CR, you are not going to perform amazingly well in reading comprehension. That is why I wanted you to start from there. Okay, so these are the 8 things that you need to take care of. But to start with, how about this? Why don't you practice 10 RC passages every week? And as you become better, you can increase that number. But then the key thing, attempt 10 RC passages every week. Whenever you get a question wrong, focus on the reason behind that mistake. And that reason will almost invariably take you back to these 8 things. You'd realize that it is a problem with one of these 8 which is causing that error. So you need to roll out that relevant plan. Okay. As you become better, increase that number. As you go on to get better, go ahead and increase that number further. So in fact, eventually I give a very radical input to people. I tell them that, dude, when it comes to writing the exam, give me a fixed number of errors every week. I actually boil it down to that level. With that said, here is another thing that I want you to do. Remember those first 3 things: speed, retention, comprehension. You can always work on them in a very focused manner, but additionally, you also need to get into reading. If you don't get into reading, none of those other things will develop. So make sure that you give 25 minutes to reading every day. From today until, I think actually until the cat, but at least for the next 5 months. So from today until February. So that's your target. Okay. In fact, let's put a date until around Valentine's Day next year. From here to 14th February, your goal is to put in 25 minutes of reading every day. In case you have a question in your mind about what to read, well, here it is. You can read long form articles. From where can you read these long form articles? I'm writing the names of some websites. You can tap those. So Eon Essays, New York Times, The Guardian, Scientific American. So here are the 4 websites from which you can read long form articles. Additionally, read books. Okay, particularly books from those areas that get asked very often in the CAT and areas that you are not very comfortable with. So areas like philosophy, psychology, anthropology, biology, technology, ecology. Okay, so go ahead and read books from those areas. And thereafter, when it comes to verbal ability, these are the 4 questions that get asked. I want you to work on each one of these 4 question types in this order. So start with, so once you're done with critical reasoning, remember, once you're done with critical reasoning, start with best summary of the paragraph questions and give yourself 2 weeks. Once you are done with this, move over to paragraph odd one out. Another 14 days. Para jumbles, give yourself 30 days. Paragraph completion, give yourself another 14 days. So you can of course work on each one of these question types individually after finding the right technique, right tools, right approach, etc. But then you realize what is common to all of these question types. These question types rely on your understanding of how a paragraph is crafted, how a paragraph is created or made. So if you want to supercharge your preparation, if you want to decimate these questions, start writing. So if you write, your accuracy rate in these questions will be amazing. And not only that, you'll also be preparing for your VAT, your written ability test subsequently. So that can definitely be a really good addition. Okay, so write. So there you go. That's my suggestion for you. Okay, and finally, here are a couple of other areas that I want you to work on: vocabulary and grammar. So for vocab, make sure that you give 20 minutes to vocabulary every day, and in these 20 minutes, learn new words using any tool, any technique. It can be a word list, it can be a book like WordPar Made Easy that uses root word approach. It can be some other book that teaches you words in a way that increases your retention. These are usually association based methods, so you can use these. You want more lowdown, you would find some video of mine. Just check the playlist where I've talked about vocabulary and how to build vocabulary, and you'd find book recommendations and an even greater strategy for you, right? And similarly, make sure that you go ahead and work on grammar. So what is it that I want you to do on grammar? Very simple things. First up, pick up a basic book of grammar, any book that you worked with in your school. So in my school, we worked with Wren and Martin. So if I were to start my preparation, I'll start using Wren and Martin. If you use some other book, go ahead and use that book. So the idea is, since one such book is already available to you, you can use that. So read this book twice at the rate of at least 7 pages a day. So if you read around 7 pages a day, you'd be able to read this, you'd be able to finish it in around 100 days. And once you are done reading that book twice, get back to me and I'll put you on some other diet for grammar. Fair enough? So that's it. That's for grammar. So that takes care of your preparation of all the 5 modules of English. So you notice what we did. We just broke it all down into syllabus and we started working on it. So you can treat this VARC strategy as a sample. You can use the same process to come up with a plan for yourself that happens to be targeting these different sections, quant, DI, logic, decision making, GK, whatsoever, right? So the last thing that you need to do is start executing. At the end of the day, it is all about just these 3 things. You've set a goal, you made a plan, and now you need to act. And once you start acting consistently, once you work on your plan every day for the next 3 months if you're targeting CAT this year, or 15 months if you're targeting the CAT next year, I have no doubt in my mind that we will talk to each other when you have succeeded in attaining your goal, right? So any questions, please put them in the chat window. If you liked the session, don't forget to press the like button before you head out, and do share it with some of your friends. then both of you will be able to grow together, and that will also help me by spreading this video to people who actually can benefit. As a teacher, I just want to touch the future and change it for better. So very selfish reason to request you to like it and share it, right? And once again, another reminder that you are supposed to write the mock CAT on 8th of September. That's how you figure out your strengths and weaknesses. That's how you figure out where you stand. Additionally, we offer a very comprehensive CAT preparation course where we give you more than 150 hours of live sessions. In fact, more. Why 150? It's going to be more than 180, 190 hours of live sessions. More than 200 hours actually. And apart from that, you have 300 recorded lectures that clarify the basics. Additionally, a lot of practice questions, study notes, doubt sessions, everything. And if you, just in case, and since you're preparing for CAT 24, just ignore 23, think of it as 24. We have already started batches of 24. In fact, 2 batches are already running. If you haven't started your prep yet, you are losing out to your competition, by the way. In order to help you make up your mind, we've produced great results in the past. We are giving you this 3-day free trial. So go through that, experience the course, and then decide on what you would really like to do. And to make it even easier for you, we have a scholarship test coming on 10th of September. If you perform well there, you can get a sweet deal where up to 90% of the fee can be waived off. Okay, so here is the channel, the group that we have on Telegram, BYJU'S Exam Prep for MBA. Join that for any other questions that arise in your mind after this particular session. Vedant, do solve the exercises as well in your second reading, not in the first reading. I'm assuming you were talking about the grammar book, right? So that's it from me today. Don't forget to hit the like button before you head out. Until I see you next, stay safe, stay focused, stay in touch. Have a great Sunday ahead, and I will see you soon, hopefully even in the batches around. Take care.